guys. Okay, so today we are going to read chapters 9 and 10, and then I will give you your response question in the slides. So here we go. Chapter 9, Sunday. Mass starts at 9 a.m. sharp. Pierre Alain glares at you if you come in late. Mamire goes early to loosen up her singing voice. Delia makes sure that Henry and me are dressed proper. My Sunday dress used to be Delia's. It's worn, shiny, in spots, and I'm sick of its pattern, and the bow at my neck tighter now since I've been wearing it 3 years. Henry puts on Sunday shoes passed on by Madame Senet when Felix got too big for them. They've been worn by so many kids that the backs are broken down, and no matter how much Pepe shines them, those old shoes make us look poor. Mamire hates that. One of the first things we're going to buy when we pay off the store bill is new shoes for Henry. That way, he won't always be trying to hide behind me when we climb the stairs to the room above the store. The mill owners charge us $50 rent for this room. They like big Catholic families because we give them lots of workers all in one package. There are so many of us now that anyone who comes late has to sit out on the landing and listen to Mass through the open door. We are building our own church in this town, but so far we've got nothing but a big hole that fills up with snow every winter. Nobody's making extra pennies to throw in the collection basket on Sundays. Even Pierre Alain has to chop wood for the farmers just to make enough money to feed himself. Back in Canada, the people always collect themselves together on the steps after church and exchange news. Pepe told me that Sunday Mass was the only time you'd see your neighbors. Some of them had to drive 2 hours each way from their farms to get to church. We still gather and talk, even though now we're standing on the front porch of Mr. Dupree's store, and it's spitting distance to our house and to the mill, where we see each other every day. But this is one time we can talk without our machines at our elbows. Arthur is standing next to his mother. For once, he don't have no book in his hand, but he looks restless. This is the tomorrow Miss Leslie was talking about, and I want to know what the two of them are doing together. He may be her best reader, but I'm the second best, and that gives me rights. Mamire's hand curls around my neck. Bonjour, Grace, says Pierre Alain. Bonjour, mon Pierre, I say, and drop a curtsy. Mamire and the cure start in talking about weather and Pierre Alain's sister, who's a nun in a little town right across the border in Massachusetts. Monsieur Cordeau is taking his uncle back to Rivière-des-Loups soon, says Pierre Alain. Now your father says he'll be going along too. Mamire frowns. Pepe's not right in the head, he says. He's not sure where he is. And you started in the mill this week, Grace. Yesterday, mon Pierre. You work hard. You'll be a great helper to your family. Yes, mon Pierre. And Delia has her own frames now, Mamire says. At the sound of her name, Delia walks over to join us. I look around to see Mrs. Trottier standing in the same place as before at the edge of the group of women, but Arthur is gone. He must have slipped away when I wasn't looking. I twist out under Mamire's hand and run to find him. The schoolroom door is locked up tight, but when I tiptoe along the edge of the porch, I peek in a window, I can see the two of them. Arthur sitting where he always did next to me, and Miss Leslie in my old seat, except her legs are stretched out straight and to the side because her knees don't fit under our little desks. You can't move the furniture around in the schoolroom. Each bench is screwed right into the desk behind it so nothing gets out of line. That's the way Miss Leslie likes things. Funny, only 2 days ago I was sitting there. Their heads are bent in so close together that Arthur's dark hair looks like it's growing right off of Miss Leslie's head. I can't see what book they are reading. This makes me mad. Why didn't she ask me to come? Why is Arthur so special? Before I think too long about it, I'm banging on the window. They both look up with scared faces, like I've caught them murdering someone. Miss Leslie marches over to the door, and I hear her shoot the bolt across, and I expect she's going to order me off the porch. But instead, she yanks me inside the room and locks the door again. I didn't tell you where I was going, Arthur cries. She followed me. She's always following me. All the time he's talking, he's shoving some papers into the cubby underneath his old desk. It's getting crumpled. When his hand stops moving, a corner of it is still peeking out. So they weren't reading. They were writing. Miss Leslie hushes him. You're turning into a first-class sneak, Miss Grace, she says in a quiet voice. Why don't you teach me on Sundays too? I cry. I don't mean to say that. I don't mean to show either one of them that I care one little bit about the stupid old lessons they're having with themselves. You never asked me, Miss Leslie says, and her voice sounds surprised. It's a wonder when you can shock a grown person. Of course, this time the words pop out of my mouth surprise me too. For once, I can't think of what to say. Have you swallowed your voice? Miss Leslie asks. I shake my head, but still I don't say a thing. Arthur, shall we let her stay? He looks me up and down like I'm some kind of farm animal they're selling at a county fair. She'll just keep coming back if we don't. She don't give up. He's right. I don't. You've got a secret, don't you? I ask. And no matter what they say to me, I know I'm right. What are you hiding? Miss Leslie puts both hands on my shoulders and steers me around so I'm sitting in my old place. It feels funny. Me and Arthur back in school. Except Miss Leslie ain't teaching us exactly. She's resting herself on top of the next door desk where Norma and Rose usually sit. Now the three of us are all together like we're plotting something big. And it turns out we are. Chapter 10, The Letter. Miss Leslie nods to Arthur, and he pulls out a piece of paper and smooths the wrinkles he made when he crunched it up. Read it to her, Miss Leslie says. Are you practicing your writing? I ask. Grace, hush for once in your life and listen. It's a letter. Arthur's doing the writing. It goes this way. To Miss Anna Putnam, National Child Labor Committee, Vermont Chapter, Bennington, Vermont. Dear Madame, this is to inform you that there are underage children working in the cotton mill in the town of North Pownell, Vermont. These children range in age from 8 to 13. They are employed in the following dangerous tasks. It stops there. That's as far as we got, Arthur says, before you barged in. So now you can help us, Grace. My brain is whirling around. My feet start shifting under my desk. What is that child labor thing? They investigate places where children are not supposed to be working because they are too young. Believe it or not, there are laws against child labor. They're just not enforced, Miss Leslie says. But we need to work for the money. I can hear Mamir's voice speaking right through my lips. Yes, Grace, but you also need your education. Then when you get older, you'll have a job that makes you much more money than you'll ever get working in the mill. Stop arguing, Arthur says to me. You want to leave? I don't. This is just more interesting than reading La Justice to Pepe for the third time this week, or doing laundry with Mamir, or weeding. I'll help them write their dumb old letter. What difference does it make? When the inspector comes, we'll just hide in the elevator the way we always do until he leaves the premises. That's a fancy word Mr. Wilson uses for the mill. So, back to the letter. What jobs do children do in the mill? Doffing, I say. Besides doffing, says Miss Leslie. Sweeping, says Arthur, and carrying the bobbin boxes. They're heavy. Good, write that down. What else, Grace? I'm thinking hard. This is like a test, and I want to do well. Some of the boys work in the wrapping room. Arthur writes that. And what about Thomas? Miss Leslie asks. He was fooling around at the time, I tell her. He was standing too close to the gearbox. More accidents happen because of the number of children working in the mill, but Thomas was legally old enough to be working, so we'll forget him for now. What else? We clean the machines on Saturdays and some other times if the roving gets too bunched up. Delia's got scars on her fingers from cleaning the hooks. Perfect, says Miss Leslie, and I smile. I'm passing the test. Arthur put down machine maintenance. Then she writes out that big word for him so he can copy it. Why aren't you writing the letter to the committee place? I asked Miss Leslie. She'll get fired if they found out it's coming from her, Arthur says, and rolls his eyes at me as if everybody is supposed to know that. You'd better not tell. Who will fire her? The mill owners, Arthur spits. They own the mill school. Hush, Arthur, says Miss Leslie. Nobody's going to be firing me as long as we keep this quiet. Now, sign it this way. She writes out another big word for him to copy. It says anonymous. What does that mean, I ask. It means the person is writing the letter don't wish to be known, Arthur says. He acts like it's something he knew all along, but I bet Miss Leslie just told him that. Doesn't wish to be known, says Miss Leslie. She's always correcting our way of speaking, but we don't always remember from one time to the next. She reads the letter over and folds it into an envelope and puts the stamp on it. I'll mail this next week when I make the trolley down to Massachusetts to see my sister. That way, no one in this town will see it going out, especially Mr. Dupree, the postmaster. He's the nosiest person in town. Except for Madame Boucher, I say. We sit a while like we got nowhere to go. Arthur is staying for a lesson, Grace. You're welcome to if you want. I do. We read a story in Appleton's Reader because Arthur still has the soldier book. Miss Leslie directs me to read a poem called The Brown Thrush by Lucy Larcombe. When I start walking around so's I can read better, Miss Leslie opens her mouth to say something, but she shuts it again. Maybe because this ain't real school, she decides for once that it don't matter if what my feet are doing. When I'm done, she says, "Do you know who Miss Larcombe was, Grace?" I shake my head. She worked in the spinning room in the mill in Lowell, Massachusetts, when she was your age, 15 years ago. She ended up writing books. You could do that too, as long as you have an education. But you told me underage children don't have to work in Massachusetts, Arthur said to Miss Leslie. Not now. Massachusetts is one state that enforces their child labor laws. Back in the 1840s, girls like Lucy couldn't wait to get to the mills. They were running away from the drudgery of the farms. So that's why they're running away to Massachusetts. So that's why you are running away to Massachusetts, I blurt out to Arthur. So they wouldn't put you in a mill. Of course, I'm not stupid. I look back and forth from one to another. Seems Miss Leslie and Arthur talk about everything. I wonder again about all this happening right under my nose without me knowing it. Maybe it started when Arthur's father died. Maybe Miss Leslie took his place, even though she's a woman. On the way up to French Hill, Arthur tells me the story of the soldier in his book. Henry's worried that he's going to run away when the battle starts. His name is Henry then, just like I said when we started the book. This is a wonder to me that I could guess the same name for the youth as the man who wrote the book did. Maybe it means I will be a writer like Miss Lucy Larcombe. Except I think the poem about the brown thrush was boring and too easy reading for me. Stop interrupting, Arthur says. The soldier is wishing he was back on the farm milking the brindle cow. Is there fighting yet? No, any minute now. You tried to run away, I say. Maybe I won't need to now, if those child labor people come. Maybe they could shut down the mill. My heart stops. If they close the mill, we won't have jobs. There's other work to do. We can go back to the farm and milk the brindle cow, he says with a grin. That's what Pepe wants. But my mother says the farming is much worse than the mill. She hated it just like Miss Miss Lucy Larcombe and those other mill girls. She never got paid for 1 penny for her work. Nothing is worse than the mill, says Arthur before he turns off to his own house. They would never shut the mill. I tell myself. Not because of a bunch of kids. Arthur, I yell. What does brindle mean? But he don't hear me. Okay, check the slides for your response question. Have a great day, guys.